And even you, Marcus, how you doing? Not good? Long flight home? Not used to the travel, are you?
The worst part is I get home and it's like I wasn't going. Trash is waiting for me and all that. Like, dude,
Yeah.
what's up with going for 5 days?
Welcome to marriage.
Correct.
All right.
Turn the page mentally from the last
Well, by turn the page doesn't mean we've forgotten about it, but we're ready to atone for our sins.
What kind of sins you talking about?
Lack of focus to start the game was really the key. Lack of energy, and more than energy was sense of purpose. And I take a lot of the blame for that. You know, I should know better as a coach of a team that's been up 3-0 plenty of times. You got to know you're going into the Lions' Den, especially against a team like the Spurs with a great tradition and great coaching. It just felt like kind of a regular season approach on a back-to-back instead of a closeout playoff game. I thought our guys played hard for the most part during the game, but not in a smart fashion. I don't think we played mindfully, and that's got to change.
There's something that happens that triggers like your reaction to that, just that you can recognize when you feel like you guys are a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell right away. Looking back at the tape, I should have taken a timeout. 3 minutes into the game and broken a clipboard.
Bring extra clipboards.
Yeah, we always have extras. But it was a weird game because we're making one mistake after another, and yet it's 10-10. So like I stood up to take a timeout, then we make a three, or they miss a wide open three. I'm ready to call timeout. We come back and we score. Looking at the score, I'm like, do I waste a timeout? You usually like to keep your timeouts, especially on the road for when a run is coming, when a real run is coming. And it wasn't like the Spurs had a real run. It was more like we were just making mistakes and allowing them to hang in. And so looking back on it, I should have called a timeout, lit into them, and done anything I could. But more than that, I should have had them prepared pregame for what was coming, and I didn't feel like I did a good job of that.
Steven, just kind of in the context of that series, like game 2 and 3, the Spurs would kind of come out and do similar things and put up a play. Like, what was different in terms of your guys' ability to respond to that?
Again, it was mindfulness, lack thereof. Looking at the 7 turnovers that we started out with, the Spurs were playing great defense, but I'm not sure, other than the shot clock violation on the first play, the turnovers were our fault. We throw the ball away under their hoop for a dunk. We try to throw the ball down the gut. We throw the ball away on a pick and roll. None of these had to do with defense. Those, probably 4 or 5 of them just were our lack of focus and urgency. And, you think about the way we started this series. We came into this thing thinking it's been a little bit of a rough go last few weeks. We got to have a sense of urgency. Game 1, we came out with that appropriate fear. And the appropriate fear means you're respecting the game, respecting your opponent, respecting the fact that you better take care of the ball, you better box out. We boxed out, I think, every single play in game 1. And then the cracks in the armor last night were apparent from the beginning. It's human nature. You go up 3-0 and you feel like you got it, so you let your guard down. And so now human nature is also to get your guard back up. And that's what I fully expect tomorrow night.
In retrospect, what do you think you would have said differently pregame to your guys?
Just a warning of, similar situations that we've had in the past, good and bad. Last year we actually handled our 3-0 situations well in the first 3 rounds, and then game 4 in Cleveland, not quite as well, but it's not as simple as just, which games you won, which games you lost. If you look at the nature of those games last year in the early rounds, we pounded teams in the first quarter of game 4s with a killer instinct, and they needed to be reminded of that, and so I take the blame as well.
It is really interesting to hear a coach talk about things that he would have done. This is the time of year
Yeah.
where self-critique is
Yeah, for sure. The self-critique is always there. As a coach, as a player, you're always thinking, what could I do better? We're all in this together. Every player, I'm sure, went home last night and thought, I should have done this, I should have done that. Every coach did the same thing. And that's the beauty of it, is win or lose, you're doing it together, you're doing it as a group, and you try to fix your mistakes, and you get after it the next game.
How do you know when to sort of shoulder that blame yourself, or when to sort of say, hey, these players are professionals, they're getting paid a lot of money to do what they're doing, and it's, on them to take care of themselves?
I much prefer to blame them. It's way more fun to just point the finger, not look in the mirror at all. It's pretty obvious. We were not ready last night. So whose fault is that? It's our fault, mine and theirs. And my job was to get them ready. Their job was to perform, and none of us did our jobs.
It sounds like it was more of a focus thing than an effort thing.
Yeah, effort was there. The effort was there. The mindfulness was not. The attention to detail. There were plays early on in the game, coverage breakdowns, letting Rudy Gay get to his right hand on the first play of the game, throwing the ball away underneath after a rebound. The ball is everything. We've talked about it the whole series. The ball is everything. 7 turnovers in the first 5 minutes. It's all there. It was all there on tape.
Coach, you raised your three-point defense in this series, even on their misses going back from 1, 2, 3. Was it you guys forcing their low percentage early, or were they just kind of missing open shots on breakdown?
It's always a combination when you look at the tape. They were due to make some, especially at home. Didn't surprise me that they made a lot of threes, but some of it was our lack of coverage and some breakdowns. So it's a mix and match, and I always feel like you set a tone for a game early, and you look at the difference game 1 to game 4. Our tone in game 1 defensively. Pop even said it after the game. He said it was the best defense they had seen all year. Game 4, we didn't have that tone, and when you see that in the NBA, every team's got talent. Every team's got guys who can shoot. You set a bad tone early, shots tend to go in against you. It's just karma or whatever you want to call it.
What do you see about a guy like Murray who doesn't shoot threes all year, that suddenly, I understood the strategies that we know, now suddenly tell you guys, hey, we may have to get out?
Well, yeah, we can do a better job with that, put it that way.
Steve, regarding that theme of self-criticism, it seems throughout the season a lot of players have been doing that themselves, snap and play, do that on the line.
Blaming themselves or blaming me?
No, blaming themselves, yeah. Anytime there's like a bad shooting night or whatever, like just in the big picture of the culture that establishes, what do you think that does when people have that?
It's just, you have to have self-awareness as a player, as a coach. But you have to have it collectively as a team too. And we never blame anybody. It's not about blaming. But if I know you can do a better job, then that's my job to let you know. And then it's your job as a player to accept that and understand that it's not personal. And that's what I like about our guys. We can coach them. I can point out anything on tape, whether it's Kevin or Andre or Steph, Clay. I can point anything out to them. And guys aren't going to take it personally because they know it's not what it's about. We're just trying to win a basketball game.
Is there a situation where you'll tell the guys, my bad, I should have called a timeout?
You guys are way too much on this self-criticism thing. We're gonna move on from that.
Is there any danger of overdoing that? You lost the game on the road in the playoffs.
It happens, but the biggest thing is you identify what you could have done better, and that's what today's about.
A couple of players told me that the silver lining in this going to a game 5 is that they can stay in the rhythm. It's not a long, it won't be too much of a long break before the second round starts. Do you subscribe to that? Is that?
I'm always for looking on the bright side, so I'm good with that. But that only works if you take care of business tomorrow. So let's take care of business, and then after the fact, I'll tell you how great it was that it went 5 instead of 4. But until then, we're not going down that path.
How would you assess JaVale's performance throughout the playoffs so far?
JaVale's been great. Good defensively against Aldridge. The energy's good. He's scoring buckets for us. I think he's done a really good job.
Are you confident that Clay will be able to bounce back tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
He's got a short memory.
Yeah, Clay was brilliant the first 3 games. Tough night last night. We didn't help him. The ball didn't move. The ball will move better tomorrow. Clay will get more shots. And he's Clay Thompson.
You kind of wish he hadn't come to practice today because he could maybe go out for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that might have been good too. I don't know how underrated Manu is going to be because he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer and it'll probably be unanimous, except for that one guy who always wants to make a point and say, "Nah, we're not going to vote him in yet." Who's that? Okay. I just think Manu is so unique, and so what he's done speaks for itself. But it's the manner in which he's done it. I would guess if you asked James Harden, James probably would tell you, yeah, I watched that guy and I took a lot of stuff from him. And the Euro step has become such a big part of the game. And, nobody has done it quite like Manu, and especially the longevity. Still doing it in a playoff game at 40 or 41, whatever he is. So I don't underrate him. And I think everybody respects him as much as anybody in the league.
You've used the word mindfulness a couple times.
Yeah.
You've got a few yoga enthusiasts on your team, including yourself. How does it help you, especially this time of year?
It's something we talk about. It's the mind-body connection. You got to physically get out there and perform, but it has to be connected to strategy and purpose. And mindfulness is all about performing at your peak without getting in your mind's way, without getting in your own way. And we talk about it. Some of our guys do yoga. I'm always thinking about ways as a coach to teach that. It's a hard thing to teach, but it's something I believe in. Thanks a lot.